y'all, welcome to my channel. Today we are making homemade goat milk soap, the hot process method. The goat milk I use, however, is a powdered goat milk. I don't have access to fresh goat milk, so I just use powdered. The soap is amazing on your skin. It has changed my skin so much since I've been using it. And I want to teach you how to make it yourself in your own home with a crock pot. You will need several different kinds of oils. I will post the list of the things that you will need so you can have all your stuff together and ready. We'll do this from start to finish. It'll probably take about 45 minutes or so to make the soap. It usually cooks about 30 minutes. There are some tips and tricks that you need to know before making soap. You will be working with lye. It's okay. Don't run away. That stopped me from making soap was because I was scared of using lye. But if you just take the precautions that are needed and necessary, you will be fine, I promise. So first, I'm going to measure out my lye. I already have my container on and my scale zeroed out. And we're going to put in 4.46 ounces of lye. And then we're going to measure out our water. Okay, now we're going to add 8.16 ounces of distilled water. This recipe calls for 12.16 ounces, but I'm going to add the other 4 ounces after the cook with the powdered goat milk. So just 8.16. And it is really hard to get it exact. Get as exact as you can possibly get, but it is really hard to get it exact every time. Okay, the next thing I'm going to measure is Crisco. I use Crisco in my soap. And it's 9.6 ounces of Crisco. I'm going to put this in my crock pot so that it can go ahead and be melting. I've got my crock pot set to high right now just to melt the oils. Once the oils start melting, I will turn it down to low for the actual cook. All right, and next we're going to measure out the lard. All right, we're going to do 6.4 ounces of lard. That's 6.4, and it's hard to get it exactly 6.42. So we'll go with that. I'm going to be putting it in the crock pot as well and let it be melting down. Going to add 6.4 ounces of coconut oil. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the crock pot and let it be melting as well. I'm going to put the lid on. Might help it to melt a little faster. And while that's melting, I'm going to go ahead and add in the other oil. We're going to add in 9.6 ounces of olive oil. Make sure you zero out your scale. 9.6 ounces. Pour that in. And now just wait a few minutes and let your oils melt. Now that the oils are melted, I am going to pour in the lye that I've had in my sink. It's been cooling in the sink. And I'm going to take it on the part of my stick blender so that it doesn't splash me. Pour the lye in. Go ahead and turn your crock pot down to low. Just going to move it in a little. I have a pretty large crock pot, so I have to tilt it just a little so it doesn't splash me. You don't want to continuously use your stick blender and hold the button down the entire time because it will burn your stick blender out. Okay, this is a light trace. This is as much as I usually do it because it's going to cook in the crock pot regardless. So I just kind of let it thicken up a little bit. Now I'm going to put the lid on. If you do not have a crock pot like this that has the lid that will hold down tight, get a piece of plastic wrap and put it over the top of this and then put your lid on top of that. And it holds the moisture in so that the problem with hot process soap sometimes is it gets really thick and it's hard to mess with and manipulate once you put it inside of your soap mold. So the best thing to do is to keep it as liquidy as possible. So we're going to put the lid on tight or put saran wrap, and it does help. You do want to keep an eye on this. I will come back and check on it in about 5 to 10 minutes to see how it's cooking, and I'll show you the different stages that it goes through. It usually takes around 30, sometimes 40 minutes to cook. Once you do this a few times, you'll be able to tell when it's finished because I'm going to show you what it looks like. While we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the rest of the water and the goat's milk powder that we're going to add after it's finished cooking. This will also give it a more liquidy consistency. Okay, we left 4 ounces out. So I'm going to add 4 ounces to this. Make sure you zero out your scale. We're going to have 4 ounces of distilled water. And then I add 1 full scoop of powdered goat's milk. This is the brand I use. I actually got this off of Amazon. You can also get it at Walmart. I've seen it there as well. And I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to pop it in the microwave. You want everything to be warm when you're adding it to the soap so that it doesn't cause it to set up faster than you want it to. So I will warm this in the microwave for about a minute when it gets closer to time to use it. It's been about 10 minutes, so I'm going to check it. And as you can see, it's cooking on the sides. It's cooking nicely, so I'm going to stir it around. Some say don't stir, but I stir it. It doesn't change anything for me. This is the way I've always made it. It looks good, so we're going to put the lid back on and let it cook for another 10 minutes. It has been another 10 minutes, so now it's been cooking for a total of about 20 minutes. And it is now in the mashed potato stage. It's coming right along. It's actually almost finished. There's not a lot of white spots left in it. So that's how I can tell that it's almost finished. I'm gonna let it cook for an additional 10 minutes, which will be 30 minutes total. And I believe it will be ready like that after that. And we'll do a zap test to find out. Don't be scared of the zap. We have now reached the full 30 minutes cook time. And this looks done. You can see by looking at it, there's no white in it or anything. Now, how I check to make sure there's no lye left in the soap is I get just a little, and I'm gonna let it cool, but I get a little on my finger. Be careful, it is kind of hot. I'm gonna let it cool all the way down. Okay, here's the piece that I've had cooling. And I'm just going to touch it to the end of my tongue. And if you feel a zap, like a tingly zap on your tongue, you know that it still has lye in it. But I didn't feel anything, so it's done. So now we're going to turn the crock pot off. And I'm going to check the temperature of my soap. I don't add any of the goat's milk or the scented oils until it is below or at 160 degrees. It is at 180. So I'm going to just leave this for now and let it cool. My soap is now at about 160. As you're waiting, you do get a little nervous because it does tend to get thick looking. But when you add the goat's milk that we made earlier, it will thin up. But you want to make sure that your goat's milk is warm. So I warmed it for about a minute in my microwave. And now you're just going to I pour a little at a time and then start stirring it in. Add the Micas. I'm actually going to make this one with red and green. It's going to be a neon colors. I'm making this one for kids. So it'll actually have a little bit of glitter on the top of it as well. This is glitter that's for soap. So you're going to put about 3 teaspoons of, I just use olive oil to mix the Micas in. It makes them easier to mix. I'm going to mix one color in this little cup that I have, and then the other color will be into this one because I'm going to just dump it straight into there. So this is a little spoon that I have that was in my measuring. I believe it's like 1/4 a teaspoon. So I'm going to use 1/4 a teaspoon of the color, and I'm going to put in this. And then I'm going to get the pink, and I'm going to add about 1/4 a teaspoon of the pink. It doesn't take a lot of this. These Micas came from Mad Micas, and I've been really impressed with how bright and how well their Micas do in my soaps. Alright, I'm going to use the end of the spoon and mix up the green one. I'm going to make sure you mix it really well. Alright, I'm just going to add this directly into the pot. I'm going to scoop from this side and take out enough for the pink. As you can see, I forgot to mix the oil with the Mica, but I believe it will be okay. So I'll just mix it all together in just a minute. I'm just going to take less than half. As you can see, it does tend to turn a little darker. I could have waited and let it cool a little bit longer. The soap did turn a little darker when I added the goat's milk. Had I waited just a few minutes longer, May should have waited till it was down to about 155 or so before I added it. But that's okay. Hopefully this will still change color with it being so dark. I'm satisfied with those colors. All right, let's add the scent. I'm using Macintosh Apple from Candle Science. And I have these disposable pipettes that I use. They have marks of 1 milliliter, 2 milliliter, and 3 milliliter. I'm going to do the 2 milliliter mark, and then the 2 milliliter mark again in this one, and then I'm going to do the 2 milliliter mark, and another 1 milliliter. I'm just going to put one. So there's a total of 3 milliliters in this one, and then a total of 4 milliliters in that one, and the green colored one. All right. Oh, that smells so good. You should have your soap molds ready to go. And this is the one that I'm using. I got this from Amazon. I really like this one. It cleans up easy. I like this one. I'm going to do the green first. Just plop it in there. Then I'm going to push it. Just push it down on the counter, drop it down, and it'll flatten it out. Then I'm going to add the second layer on top, pink. I have the end of my thermometer that I use, and I'm going to just take it. Let's make sure it's good and flat first. Get that piece off. Some of the green is down here. I'm going to go ahead and take that off the side too. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to swirl it. Give it a texture. You can really do whatever you want. You can use the spoons, you can use anything. Try to swirl some of this green up. So I'm going to actually go around like this and see now I've got some of the greens that have come up. Now, I'm going to finish off the top. And I'm happy with that, so. To make it look a little more girly, I want to add some glitter. Just gonna add that on top. Makes it good and shiny. Okay, you just made hot process soap. Let's let it sit and I will bring you back for the cut.